Well, we got some good news and some bad news. Hi, my name is Sam. Welcome into the Yank Report, the show where we talk about U.S. men's soccer. And we had an interesting weekend. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with the guy who had the best weekend. I'm talking about Gio Reyna. Dortmund took on Stuttgart this weekend, and about the only thing that went right for Dortmund was Gio. Gio was the offensive force for Dortmund. In the 39th minute, Gio Reyna was out on the left wing position when Dortmund had the ball in midfield. The ball found Rafael Guerreiro, who took a look up from about midfield and found Gio making a run. Guerreiro played a ball over the top, and Gio, this was spectacular if you haven't seen it. Gio took the ball down with his left foot and in stride with a defender on his back, flicked it to the far corner with his right foot. This was a move where the defender was right on him. If he would have taken another touch, he would have lost it. An absolute spectacular play that you had to see the replay to see exactly what happened. And from the front angle, from the goal, it was even better. We've seen Gio play provider many times over the course of this season for Dortmund, and now we are starting to see him take on more of a role of a goal scorer. And this was a goal scorer's goal where he peeled off the back shoulder of the defender and in one motion brought the ball down and flicked it into the corner. Later in the game, Gio also had another goal that was called back because Moukoko was offsides whenever he played it into him. Gio could have had 2 goals on the day, but it wasn't to be. And like I said before, this was a day that Dortmund is going to want to forget. 5-1 to Stuttgart following the game. Dortmund's manager Lucien Favre was let go, so we're going to see a new coach for Dortmund. It's unlikely going to affect Gio because he's playing so well right now. He's probably Dortmund's best attacker when Erling Haaland is out, because Sancho's not having a great season, Royce is not having a great season, and Gio's really picking up the slack. Before we move on, guys, if you're liking this video, if you're liking this content, this talk about the U.S. men's national team, please subscribe to the channel and please give the video a like. It helps out a lot. Gio was not the only American on the field that day. We got to give a shout out to Stuttgart manager Pellegrino Matarazzo. Pellegrino is a New Jersey native. He burst onto the scene this year for Stuttgart and is really getting a lot of attention from U.S. soccer. Pellegrino, not a guy that a lot of people know about because he started his career in the lower leagues in Germany as a player, never featured for the U.S. national team, never featured in MLS, then started his managerial career in the lower leagues of Germany as well. But he's found himself with Stuttgart, a Stuttgart team that's recently promoted and playing really well, as you can tell by their 5-1 drubbing of Dortmund. Pellegrino's quickly becoming a star as a manager in the Bundesliga, and it is exciting to see. Moving on, Timo Weah got his much anticipated start this Thursday in a Europa League matchup against Celtic. I gotta be honest, I did not think that Tim had a great game. It seemed like he was at a dinner party and nobody talked to him because the game was happening and Tim was not really involved. At one point, the commentator said something about it. He said something like, this game's really happened around Tim without Tim having much input in it. But, as the soccer gods often do, Tim was paid off for his patience. Off of a free kick in the 78th minute, Tim found himself in the box and struck a really nice volley with his left foot that found the goal. Following that goal against Celtic, Tim got some minutes this weekend against Bordeaux. He got 12 minutes as a substitute. I'm still not seeing that Tim Weah that I saw at the U20 World Cup a few years ago, but he's slowly coming back to life, man. This is a guy that if we can get him up and running, can really, push for the depth on the national team, maybe even a start if he really gets on a hot streak. He's that kind of player. Speaking of hot streaks, there's no hotter U.S. player right now than Weston McKennie. Weston is coming off 2 goals in 2 games for Juventus, including that banger scissor kick against Barcelona. Weston got the start and went 90 minutes against Genoa. He was involved in 1 goal where he got a flick-on header for Dybala. He flicked it on into the box for Dybala to run into, and Dybala made a nice finish. He was playing a lot higher up in the attack than we normally see him. He was getting a lot of headers, a lot of flick-ons. Every game that I see him, he just looks like he's improved game over game over game. Now it's time for the bad news, and I'll start with kind of bad news and we'll get progressively worse and worse and worse. Okay, let's start off with Werder Bremen versus RB Leipzig. In this game, Josh Sargent started, Tyler Adams did not. And even though Josh Sargent started, Man, I don't think a teammate passed him the ball in the first 45. Bremen had opportunities to play on balls and just didn't, and it's just frustrating to watch. On the other side, Tyler Adams came in the second half. He had an okay game doing his Tyler Adams thing of having a lot of energy, pressing everything, recovering balls. RB Leipzig is just a great team, man. So that was bad. This is worse. Christian Pulisic was out today for Chelsea against Everton. Christian picked up, how did they describe that? It was a very English description. He had some hamstring awareness. Frank Lampard said, he had this hamstring issue, but we still expect him to play against Everton. And then obviously something happened and they opted to not include him in the squad against Everton. After the game, Lampard said, look, we got Ziyech out. We got Hudson-Odoi out. We're so thin at the winger depth that we just can't take any chances with Christian. We're going to rest him up and make sure he's good to go for the remainder of the season. Now, according to what Lampard is saying, he is expected to play this week in their midweek game. This is not expected to be a long-term thing, but gosh, I think Chelsea fans and U.S. national team fans, our hearts are in our throats every time we see that Christian's left off due to a hamstring injury. So now for the worst news of the day. Richie Ledesma picked up a ACL injury that's going to see him out for 6 to 9 months. This is bad because Richie was just starting to break into the PSV team and he was making noise. He was looking good out there. And this is even worse because this means it's going to keep Richie out of all the competitions that the U.S. national team is going to be playing in this summer. Richie was going to have a lot of opportunities, whether it was with the Olympic team or whether it was with the Gold Cup team, maybe even the senior national team, depending on how things shake out. But now he's going to have to be out for that entire summer. So that's it for me, man. Some good, some bad, some ugly this weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the games. I hope you got to see Gio's goal because, my goodness, that was amazing in an otherwise disappointing Dortmund game. What was your favorite thing of the weekend? Did you know about Pellegrino Matarazzo and how good he's doing for Stuttgart right now? As always, guys, if you enjoy this content, please subscribe. This is a very new channel, and we are growing week over week, and all the support is appreciated. Please leave a comment. Please like. The likes really help out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. My name is Sam, and this is the Yank Report.